Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is The Corner Bookstore. My co-host, DIANN BOEHM, has the day off. What a wonderful show this is. It's an opportunity to showcase authors from all around the world, hear their backstory and the impetus for their writing and what their experience has been since they've written their books. Joining me today is a fabulous person. She is joining us actually from Canada as she is on her book tour for her new book release. Her name is Lynda Schmidt, and she's a new indie author. She's actually Canadian. As I mentioned, she's in Canada, but she's an expat living in Saudi Arabia, and she's going to share her backstory and what it's been like being on tour. Let's welcome her to the program. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Dr. JACALYN. I'm very, very happy. I'm in my happy author spot. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Really appreciate it.
It's absolutely my pleasure, and you certainly have been busy, haven't you?
Yeah, as we were saying off camera, I've been as busy. I've been doing, well, my entire tour is including 6 cities and in 5 weeks. And across, besides doing book tour promotions, I have family and friends in each of these cities. So it's been full on.
You're working on very little sleep, I imagine, but you look fabulous. So thank you so much. And I want to spotlight you, and I want to talk about what it's been like for you to just put this incredible content out. It's been very well received. And what does that mean to you? And then we'll get to your backstory.
All right. Well, it means a lot to me because I would say when I first started writing The Healing, which was the first book that came out last year, I was motivated to I really wanted to have the experience of being an author. But as the process has continued and I've had new experiences and wrote the second book, and I've actually written a third book that will come out next year, I've realized that the messages of my books are as important as the writing of them and the sharing of them. And I really want to stay true to manifesting positive words and messages in the world through the platform of my novels. So I'm not addressing things in a self-help nonfiction genre platform. I'm looking at how to share stories of resilience through that storytelling tradition that goes back a long ways. And I love telling stories. I love listening to stories. And I would say that's been one of the highlights of my book tour, is just opportunities to meet strangers. And they ask me questions about my journey, and I ask them about theirs. And we find this way to connect, to see one another. And I feel like each connection, one at a time, is breaking down some of the differences, some of the what I feel is kind of a global experience of division that's energetically going on in the world. And that feels amazing to me. You know, it's just one baby step at a time.
Yes, it is. And, you hit on something that's so important, which is we need healing, and healing together as a global community more than ever. And when you think about overcoming adversity, what comes up for you in your mind, in your life?
Well, there's so many adversities that I have had to overcome. But at the same time, as soon as I say that, what comes immediately on the heels of that is how I've been so blessed to have so much love in my life. And I feel with absolute certainty that it's that unconditional love that was the foundation of my resilience, of how is it that some people overcome adversity and others don't. And I really think that's one of the key elements of feeling loved, feeling accepted for who you are, and being able to just express that without being afraid. And so even though I had these very traumatic events happen outside of my home, and my home wasn't perfect, there were lots of things, as all families have, but I knew I was loved. And I knew that my parents loved me to the very best of their ability. I knew that my brother loved me. I knew they all had my back and would do anything for me. And I know that not everyone has that. I've worked in education for the first 30 years of my life, and I worked with children who were living in really, really challenging situations with parents who just didn't have skills, or without parents even. And I just really got clear on how fortunate I am.
What a beautiful message to share, because there are people all over the world who are going through so many things and asking, why me? Why am I having to go through this? Why am I in this pain? Instead of possibly changing their perspective and saying, why is this happening for me? What do I have to be grateful for? There's so much that we have to be grateful for every single day. So if you would share with us,
I love
Lynda.
that. I love that, Dr. Jacalyn. That
Well,
is spot on.
From interviewing people all over the world, people have and are going through things that we could not even ever imagine, and yet have a smile on their face. And many people are taking what their experience has been, and they're putting it into some creative outlet, whether it's writing or dancing or painting or singing. And that is so good for the soul, and it's so good for inner peace. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I can't agree more wholeheartedly. And I really feel that, just like you're saying, where these adversities, well, we don't seek them, but at the same time, they are so powerful in their ability to really create this rock solid self, and to the outcome of what you learn, how you grow, how you shape yourself is so much more potent in my mind in those two extremes of deep love and deep struggle. And in the middle, there's little soft opportunities for growth that are also lovely. But those two extremes are where all the big kick-ass stuff happens, where it's just like, woo, I better figure this out. And then when you do, what a great feeling. It's like, yeah, I'm strong. I can do this. And then you don't have to be afraid of life. You can relax. You can trust in life and be like, I've got this. Whatever, my mantra now is, whatever's coming to me, I must need. And so instead of being afraid of it, even though I still might be afraid, I push myself past that and say, what's the opportunity here? What can I learn? How can I expand my awareness, my compassion for the human experience, and just be more full, more evolved? That's my goal.
That's beautiful. And you mentioned that you've been meeting people, strangers are coming up to you, people are interested in learning about your books and learning about you. What is that like when you're approached by someone who just wants to have your signature or shake your hand or get to meet you?
It's an absolutely beautiful experience, and not from the point of view of like, oh, someone wanting to meet me in some kind of, I'm special because I'm doing this author gig, but more just in the opportunity for something to transform out of nowhere and for a connection to be made that you never saw. And I have to say that in every city, I've had one really stand out of incredibly unexpected and really heartwarming, from a woman in Winnipeg who had also experienced being in an abusive relationship and touching on that with my book, The Healing. And to someone just yesterday here in Halifax who has just overcome battling breast cancer, and just, wow, their willingness to trust me with that and to share openly and vulnerably their journey. I feel so honored and privileged to get to do that.
It is. There's an incredible sense of fulfillment. At least I have that, and joy, and also responsibility when you are out in the public domain and people are looking to you for answers or just for a smile, and you're helping change the world. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank
you
you.
started off, I believe, with writing poetry. Is that correct?
Yes. Oh, you did your research. I haven't been asked that for a while. I, as a child, wrote a lot of poetry. And even in my university years, I guess I was so busy with my university curriculum. And I also was a single mom raising my little girl at the same time. So talk about being busy, but I had more energy and I didn't need as much sleep back then. But yeah, I really felt that I didn't have time to really get into my writing goals. And to be honest, before I ended up becoming pregnant and having my little girl, which was a beautiful, beautiful life changer of something you don't expect, but I had plans to go into journalism and be a writer. And that didn't really seem like a good fit with raising a little girl and being present to that. And it seemed like I needed to shift gears of what I thought I wanted and what life actually brought to me. And so that's when I decided to go into teaching. And while I was studying to teach, I did write a lot of poetry. And I would say that that was something that was a big part of my reading and language program as an elementary school teacher, was developing my students' love for reading, their love for writing, and their interest in poetry. So I've written a lot of poems, but of recent years, I would say I've moved away from poetry and more into reading books and writing books, novels, full length.
Well, there's a lot more to discuss. I'm excited that our co-host is not off anymore. She's here. So we're going to take a quick break, and then the lovely Diann FLOYD BOEHM is going to join us. And Lynda, we would love for you to read from your books if you'd like to.
Okay, I'll look for a passage while we break.
All right, fantastic. All right, everyone, stay with us. We're on the Corner Bookstore with Lynda Schmidt, and we'll be joined by Diann FLOYD BOEHM when we come back. And wherever you're watching us, if you're on YouTube, please do consider clicking subscribe so that you can watch all of our 20 to 25 live broadcasts each week. All right, thanks.
Take a moment.
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 So I've had the privilege of photographing some incredible people over the years, and during each shoot I've asked the subject to close their eyes and take themselves to a peaceful place just for a few seconds. I've found that this really helps to refresh the energy between the camera and the subject. They had an energy that was quite special and quite different from the rest of the shoot. The collection grew, and now it feels the right time to use it for something good. I think it'd be amazing if we could help to raise awareness and involve people in the discussion about mental health. So what we're asking to do is for everyone to upload their own self-portraits. All of these portraits will become part of a massive artwork. I'm really excited to see this project go from hundreds of pictures to thousands of pictures. Essentially, an ever-evolving artwork that says we're all in this together.
Close your eyes and take a moment.
Hi, Lynda.
Hi, Diane.
Congratulations. You're having a fabulous book tour.
I really am. Thank you so much. And that means a lot from you because you may not know this, Dr. Jacalyn, but Diann is works, I guess we work in tandem a bit with our partner publisher, Anne O'Connell at OC Publishing. But a little side story is I met Diann before I ever wrote The Healing. Well, I was writing it, but it wasn't published and ready, and I didn't have a publisher, and I was living in Saudi Arabia. And the school that I was supply teaching at had a guest author. And who was it? Diann. She was there. And she was doing an author talk in the school library and sharing her moonling adventure stories with the children. And she was so lovely, so animated. And you can imagine how I almost fell off my seat when I found out, wow, she's actually working with the same woman that I'm about to jump off into my author journey with. So
wow, what is a great story. I love that.
Yeah.
Incredible, right? All the way in Saudi Arabia to Americans.
The shrinking world, right?
You two do get around, that's for sure. So, Lynda, I'd love to have you start, and then I'm going to ask Diann. For people who don't know and they've never had the experience, what is a book tour? What do you do on a book tour?
Well, I'm not sure I can really be the expert on that because this is my first, and it's not, it's not like I'm Stephen King going along with a great big outpouring of followers. So it's a gentle, soft introduction to what this life would be like. But for me, the book tour has been a fabulous experience in one more step in the massive growth curve of learning around what it is to be an author and taking it to that level of connecting with my followers, connecting with would-be followers, and sharing messages of hope, messages of transformation, and messages of love. And so, yeah, my book tour has been hard work behind the scenes of, for every 10 bookstores I approach, maybe there's 9 no's and 1 yes. But I focus on the 1 yes as a positivity. And also with COVID still kind of lingering around, causing some concerns and valid issues around safety, some bookstores haven't wanted to even start doing in-author events. And in fact, in several of the stores that I was invited to be in, I was their first author in over a year. So that felt pretty special as well for all of us. Everyone was excited to be back doing in-person events and just that whole energy that only a live thing can really accomplish. So felt pretty exciting.
Well, congratulations, and thank you, Lynda, for your humility. And you are another Stephen King. You don't have to be that Stephen King, right? You're Lynda Schmidt. That's who you are. So, and also people aren't aware. They look and they think, oh, she wrote a book and now look glamorous. She's traveling all around and signing books, and it's so beautiful and peaceful. Well, no, it's not. There's a lot of work that went into that. So, thank you for letting our audience know that. That's really important.
Yeah.
No
problem. And
go ahead.
Go ahead, Diann.
No, you're the guest.
Oh, I was just going to agree with Dr. Jacalyn about how, that book tour is an opportunity to find your own self, and that I'm not Stephen King. And I really love that whole concept of each of us is here for a reason. Each of us should be celebrated for who we are and not try to be anyone else. So I'm in full agreement on that.
Excellent.
Ditto.
Diann, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, Lynda, you stated it so beautifully, and just add that there's different types of book tours. We have the online book tours, we have the in-person, but Lynda's correct. There's nothing like being in person. And for our listeners to understand that just because we do a book tour online doesn't mean, oh, please go look at them, because we don't pay for those reviews. Those reviews happen, and they're honest reviews, and sometimes they may not be the greatest, but they're honest reviews, and that's what I love about them. I mean, fortunately, my reviews have been good. You get a little nervous.
Yeah, that's a downplay.
Yeah, that's a downplay. But it is behind the scenes stuff. But I feel book tours are very important. But Lynda, you're having a really great one, and I really congratulate you.
Thank you. Yes, because with the healing last year, I had to cancel my book tour plans and do the virtual. And it was also a lovely experience, as you pointed out. And I was interviewed by some really beautiful people with mandates to get these important messages out. And I enjoyed them. One of the ladies her name's Valerie Tellis, and she's got a platform called Fit for Joy. And that interview was such a positive experience of exchanging how do we have a healing conversation. And then I had another woman reach out. It was through Anne, actually, who lives in Toronto, and she's a psychologist. And that interview kind of delved into a whole different topic of why people stay in abusive relationships and what's the psychology of that and how do you get out. And so I just found with each reviewer and conversation, there was another layer of something to be uncovered. And so I'm not knocking those at all. I hope it didn't sound like
no,
that.
no, not at all. Just it's for people to learn. What I do love about your book, and I purchased it, by the way, it is for everybody. Everybody on earth has something that they've gone through that they've needed healing, because we're human beings and that's how we grow. And so I really recommend your book, because it is there is something for everyone, and there's different things in there that you personally can grow from. And I know I've shared a couple of little bits with some of my own personal family members. So thank you for writing.
Thank you. Thank you. I have had some people say, wow, like that's pretty open. That's pretty vulnerable. And you're all cool with that. And how is your family reacting? And And there has been a little bit of feedback that's been challenging around that. But I really feel like whenever there's growth, that's a part of it. It's just not all smiles and candy. And so you have to sometimes go through some of the muckiness. I felt like some of the reactions from my family were putting a spotlight on undercurrents that were already there. And that now there was an opening to maybe talk about that and get some resolution. And it didn't work with everybody, but it did for some. And so I'm really grateful for that.
Yay.
Yes.
Dr. Jacalyn, with your own book, you probably can relate to some of this, what she's saying.
Yes, definitely. So there's a chapter in my new book, Adversity to Awesome, that's about something that happened to me, and I'm not revealing it. You'll have to buy the book. But I did, when I spoke to Diann about it, I thought, wow, do I really want to put this out there? It's out there forever. Nobody knew what her family members going to say. And I thought it's part of my own healing that I need to put it out there. So it's not out yet. It'll be out next week. So check with me then. But
I'm excited. I'm really
there for your book
alley.
So Lynda, I would love for you to read from your book. Would you do that for us?
I would absolutely do that. Would you prefer an excerpt from the healing or the holding?
Your choice. Your choice.
I'll do a short one from each.
Okay, perfect.
So I'll start with the holding, because even though I wrote it second, the holding is a prequel. And I ended up writing it because of a lot of people asking me some of the backstory in the healing they were curious about. But so the holding goes back to the very beginning when my main character, Kate Henderson, is born. My books are fiction based on real life. And the holding, the main focus is really on how that father-daughter relationship is a part of Kate's foundation in becoming a resilient person who can overcome, because this book is jam-packed with really difficult hardships. And this passage is very near the end, but I don't think it's a spoiler, because I'm just going to pop in with a little tiny highlight of how deeply Kate feels loved and loves her father. Looking out the window into the dark night sky, I glimpse the beginning of a new and spectacular dawn. The sky in the east transforms from inky black to rusty indigo to majestic magenta to a soft cherry pink. It seems to speak to me of promises and dreams, of someplace I recognize, but feels like so long ago. I don't see my father's spirit out there, but I picture him in my mind playing baseball. I see him standing at the plate, legs planted firmly, his expression deadpan. I see him looking over at me, sitting in the bleachers. The pitcher releases the ball, it sails through the air, and Dad swings the bat. Crack, it makes contact. He drops the bat in the dirt and starts running. I pray that somewhere in that forever sky, my father is running free, watching over me, proud of who I've become. I pray he will always be with me, bounded in spirit in our hearts for eternity. So,
That was beautiful.
you know, it's sort of a giveaway, but you don't know the details of,
Yeah.
well, how did we get there?
Yes, you have us
And I
hanging.
think,
Yes.
right? So, and then I guess the passage that I'll choose from the healing, which is the book that I wrote first, and this picks up when Kate is 45, and it covers a 5-year span. And so it's after she's left an emotionally abusive relationship and started out on her own and uncovered her authentic self. And along that journey, because she's become her authentic self, I believe, it's my postulation, she's creates a space for an opening to meet the love of her life, Ethan. But before that happens, she's doing a lot of work, a lot of self-healing work, and she's journaling, she's in nature, she's meditating, she's doing yoga. She's really working at healing herself from all those difficult years and the imprint that left on her. And she's doing Julie Cameron's Artist's Way course that comes as a book. And one of the activities is to write your present day self. And this is what she writes. And so this kind of also hints back to the early part of the holding. So it's very multi-layered. Dear present day Kate, I'm writing to remind you of how happy you were when you were me. Your light shone brightly in the lives of everyone you met. What that boy did to you when you were 4 didn't touch your soul. It happened to your body. God was holding your spirit, loving you tenderly throughout it all. Your soul is a treasure worth protecting. I am the acceptance you were searching for. It is inside you. You need to let go of looking in the world for answers and discover what you already know inside. You don't have to accept the stories you've made up about yourself. Reclaim your self-confidence from me, who loves myself unconditionally. Remember, your eating disorders didn't start until after the farm. You still need to process that so you can let it go. Learn from me, the girl without diabetes or thyroid disease, who loves and accepts herself exactly as she is. There is no victim here. My wish for you is to love yourself now as much as you did when you were me. You need to forgive yourself. It wasn't your fault. It never is. Love, your past self.
Wow.
So,
That's deep. That is
so it gives away a little bit of what both stories are about this young girl who, you know, I think represents a lot of young girls across the planet who, yes, we're making progress, but I'm all about picking up the torch and saying, we have more work to do, ladies. Let's get together. Let's support one another. And let's really become our fullness equal. And I'm not just for women and men, but as an entire global community, I really feel there is a desperate need to recognize that we're the same and we all are worthy. And we need to stop looking at barriers around gender, around religion, around politics, around ethnicity, and just see each other for the beautiful souls that we are, encased in these bodies that, you know, were cuter a few years back, but that's okay because the wisdom grows as the cuteness goes down.
That's a fabulous message. And we're so glad that you're here on this platform because that's how we feel as well. So thank you. We do have some comments. I want to acknowledge people. Adam joining us all the way from the UK. Nice to have you with us again. we have from a Facebook user, looking beautiful. So let's all be receptive of that. Thank you. Also from OC Publishing, so proud of you. Very nice.
Diane.
Natasha Jones, great show.
Thank you.
And Anne's pre-ordered my book. Thank you. And I'm sorry that there was a delay. We're supposed to launch on April the 4th, but this book is a compilation of 12 authors. And I'll tell you what, it's a lot harder to get this one published than it was the book I did myself. I'll tell you that much. So it's coming out May the 4th. So thank you, Anne. And our new team member from Vienna, Austria, Christine Amy Artner. Thank you so much. We also have Roland Friedel, our team member who is watching, and Desiree Richardson, our team member who is watching. So Roland is in Dusseldorf, Germany, and Desiree is in London. So we really are global. Fantastic.
Wow, that is, yeah, that's spreading across the planet. That's amazing. Yeah. I love that about technology and how it can shrink the world like that.
It's true. You know, it's when I was in my corporate job before I resigned in 2020, I remember the thought of reaching out to a CEO in a corporation or somebody at a various level was like, oh, that's, you know, that's going to be so hard. It's so much work. Now you reach out to anyone, anywhere. It's amazing. One cool thing about is Clubhouse. I'm sure you have heard of it. And I remember I was in this room. It's an audio only app for people who don't know. And I was in this room with the founder of the Robinhood app. I mean, it's amazing. Like the guy's right there, the next row over from me. I thought, how would I ever even get to meet this guy? So it is incredible. And you're there in Canada. Diane, are you in Texas now?
Yes, I'm in Texas.
I never know where you are, Diane. But that we can all come together and share this message about healing. It's so important. So Lynda, what is next for you? You got another book coming out, you mentioned.
I do. I actually have a little interim before my next book. I ended up deciding along the way, I'm not exactly sure how it all came together, but there was a lot of discussion in both books around the journaling. And I felt that the journaling that Kate does is a reflection of a tool that I use in my own life. And I've been working at that process of journaling for over 20 years and defining it and redefining it. And so many people asked me about it and said, oh, you know, I've been interested in that. I'm curious about that, but I don't really know where to start. And I ended up deciding to put together my own companion journal that's going to be a part of this book series so that people can do their own work around their own healing path by following the prompts in the book. So I've been working with Anne and getting that ready, and it'll come out sometime this fall. But on top of that, just to keep myself out of trouble, I've also, as we alluded to spoke about Stephen King and not being him, but I did read his book on writing. And it was a very excellent book if there's any authors out there looking for some points. But he says how he has a goal of writing a book a year. And I thought, well, if he can do it, so can I. So that's my goal. And next year, maybe around this time, or I may choose a warmer time of the year because it's been freezing in Canada. But to try and focus here, the answer to that is I have written a third book, which is not part of this series, still a really strong female character. And it's going to be coming out next year sometime.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really fun to push myself. As you were saying, Dr. JACALYN, about needing to get that story out, the private story that we can't know yet.
Yes.
And I really felt like that with both of these books. This story had to be told not just for the messages for the world, but absolutely, completely selfishly for me to really let all of that go and just move on with my life and be fully healed in the present. And even though the healing is a journey that never really ends, you can complete, I think, different aspects of your life. And so this feels to me like I can move on and write about anything I want. And so that's what I did with this next book. I moved on to delving into some themes that I'm not as aware of, that are new to me. And so looking for some of that self-growth of looking at the other side or walking in someone else's shoes, so to speak, and using my imagination a little more And I think my next book, I'm going to really push myself. I was mentioning this to Amy and Russell and Fern on the author talk. I'm going to try on my fourth book to write from a male perspective. So that'll be interesting.
What kind of research will you do for that?
You know, I've got a lot of cool men in my life that I think I can pretty much get all the research that I need from. And my son is, he's going to be 29 in July, and he's a very, what I want to say, modern man who's comfortable talking about his feelings and sharing his thoughts. And we have a really strong relationship. So, and my husband, he's a rock star and a very evolved man. I want to say he's one of the people in my life who has the most integrity and character that I've ever met in a human being, male or female. So 2 right there. And I'm sure I'll add more just to round it out. Maybe I need some bad guys in there.
And Lynda, you touched on several things. One thing I would love for you to elaborate a little bit more on for people who are watching and listening is you put yourself out there and people were asking questions or maybe making comments. Same thing I'm thinking about, what are people going to say? But at some point, it doesn't matter what anyone says. So how do you deal with any backlash or judgment or negativity that you might get from people? What do you do?
Well, it's an excellent question. And I think I can answer that with quoting to you from a book called The 4 Agreements. And in that book, one of the 4 agreements is not to take things personally. And so instead of thinking that this has anything to do with me or I've done something wrong, I can just say that everyone's responsible for their own feelings. And I've been as impeccable as I can with my word, which is another agreement. And so I just choose to really allow them to have their feelings, and they can be upset and they can be angry with me. But I can also say that this is what I needed to do. And I'm also allowed to have my path and my feelings and my thoughts and my journey. And so I just go into my inner self, my stronger self, my spiritual self. I meditate a lot and pray to just become, I don't know, the best version of myself that I can be. And it isn't always easy because I do care what people think. But I have a dear friend who told me her dad always said to her, what other people think is none of your business.
Yes.
And I love that.
I love that.
I love that too.
Right?
Yes. Oh, that's the end of our show. Yes, Diane, we have our 2-minute warning now on all of our shows.
Oh, wow. I was like, it wasn't me.
It's me. So as we close out, Lynda, I'm going to spotlight you. If you could share your information, where you are, how people can get in touch, how they can purchase your books, that would be fabulous.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn and Diane. Well, I have a beautiful website I'm really proud of. I worked with a designer who helped me to bring my things to life because that's not a skill set of mine. And it's www.lindafayschmidt.com. And on there, you can find out information about my books. You can also read my blogs for free and see what it is that I have to say and whether that resonates for you. Right now, I'm on my book tour. I'm in the 5th city, Halifax. I have one more book signing event tomorrow. And then on Saturday, I fly to Toronto, Ontario. And I'll be doing a final book signing there on Sunday at the chapters on Yonge and Eglinton. And celebrating with friends and family that I have there. And that's pretty much, you can get my books online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Chapters Indigo. And they are available in some stores. Each of the books stores that I did a signing at took a few on, which, as you know, Diane, really fun to see your books on a shelf.
It's absolutely exciting. But I'm so happy and so proud of you. And you are sending a message that is so important to everyone. I mean, I believe your books are for everyone, no matter what the gender is. And I mean, because I can think of different people that I've known throughout my life. But I also want to step back for a second and agree with you on something that I think is very important. That is what other people think. And, you know, that's a lesson that you have to learn in life. Don't you agree? Yeah.
Yes,
And,
as we get older, we get wiser, as we talked about.
yes.
And I feel like I care less about how I look
Mhm.
and what people think of me, and I care more about who I am.
Right.
and
Right.
how I think about other people,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mhm.
giving them that benefit of the doubt, giving them that opportunity to educate me on who they are and their thoughts and feelings. And we can disagree if we want, but
Mhm.
respectfully so.
Right, exactly. And
So
now I know in the different things that I was doing and training teachers around the world actually, and how to implement technology, because there was a time that computers were not in the classroom and teachers were not happy when they
I was
came.
there. I was
And they
there.
were
I
like,
was there.
there she comes, right? And a very wise woman at my church, Louise Eckhart, God rest her soul, she always said, Diane, no matter what, just keep love in your heart. Just let them speak, allow them to speak, respect them, but just keep saying, even if you just want to lash out, just say, keep love in my heart, keep love in my heart. And it taught me to be a better person. Isn't that
I
beautiful?
love that.
So,
It's
yeah.
beautiful. Very wise woman. I hope you'll let me steal that and
Yes,
spread that
absolutely.
around.
I spread that around to people all the time. And even when my kids were growing up and I was learning that, I said, you might want to fight with that person, but in just everything that I just said. And so I hope everybody, they can join they go to your website, they can join your blog, right? Is that correct?
Yes, and actually I've started my own YouTube channel, so they
Oh,
can go there
good.
if they want kind of a more personal. On my YouTube channel, I'm looking at it less as promoting my books and more of a getting to know you platform. So I go into, on a more personal level, different themes. And this month I was looking at some of the themes in my books, but next month I'm going to be talking about my different practices with journaling and yoga and reading and what they bring to my life as opportunities for growth and awareness. So yeah,
How can we, and what's that YouTube channel?
my YouTube channel is my name, Lynda Schmidt.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So
I'm going
easy.
to check that
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you for
hope you
making it
do.
simple for people to find it. All right.
You
We
got
are
to
going
keep it
to
simple.
Yes, for sure. Thank you again, Lynda, for being here and taking the time out. Thank you to your husband for helping you get set up. And we wish you continued success on your tour, and stay in touch with us and come back and see us.
Thank you. And the same to both of you. It's been lovely, and I really appreciate this opportunity. So stay well and stay happy and keep rocking it.
And keep love in
Thank
your
you.
heart. There
You
you
too.
go.
Love in the heart. It's there. All
Bye-bye.
right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much, Diane. She was lovely, and I'm really thrilled. I mean, she has such a great story, and she's put herself out there as an inspiration for the rest of us to follow in suit, and to remember that no one's getting out of this life without having some kind of adversity. And it's all how you show up and how you deal with it and how you react or not react. It's all about choice.
That's absolutely right. And we all get scratches and bruises, but they heal. And how they heal is up to you, right?
Exactly. Unless it's a bad face job. Let's be honest. That's not
Yes,
face.
that's true. That's
That's
true.
not-
You're so funny.
Bad Botox, that's not. So, Diane, I'd love before we close out for you to share a little bit about where you've been, what you've been doing. We've had Roland Friedel filling in for you, which has
Thank
been,
you, Roland.
yes, he's been enjoying it. I'm like, you're gonna have to give it up because Diane's coming back. So, tell us what you've been doing and where you've been.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So in Texas, we had the huge Texas Library Conference in Fort Worth, Texas, where librarians come from all over, not just Texas, but other states. We had people in from Kansas and Missouri. So it's very exciting to meet the various librarians. And people might think, oh, do you still have libraries? And libraries are still the center of the earth in schools. And yes, we do need them. And so it was an opportunity to meet lots of various indie authors, as well as, the big publishers who were there, inspiring librarians and showing our various books and their various books to have in their schools to enrich the kids' lives. So it was very exciting. They put on incredible speakers, from learning why copyright, is important and the rules to follow, all the way to meeting people like me.
Was Winter there? our guest?
If she was, I did not see her, but you have to remember there was just like 2,000 or 3,000 teachers or librarians there.
I'm sure you knew all of them too, Diane, because
Yeah,
it's such a huge network.
So I'm so glad conferences are in person again, because and I must say, just for people who are like, oh my gosh, but you had to show your COVID card, and everybody was very respectful and being very, very careful. And so I'm very proud of how well the conference was handled, and it was a very, very safe environment. But to have them back in person, and to know that people are very conscientious and respectful of each other's health, just shows that we are capable to think for ourselves and know what to do. And then just to get the energy from other authors, or, find out that publishing magazines that are interested, like you, Dr. Jacalyn, and myself, who are writers, are interested in indie authors now, and to have your books in their magazines, which they, there was a time that was not the case. So it was fun to see the involving world of books.
It's very, very exciting. Well, Diane, once again, welcome back.
Thank you.
I know we were missing you over in the United Kingdom show. That was a blast this week. I'll tell you about that later. But would love to have you share with our audience how they can reach out to you and who you'd like to connect with you. And is there a sign-up sheet? Because I don't even know how you could have one more minute possibly available, but if you do.
You're so sweet. So yes, you may reach me at my website, DIANNFLOYD.com, and I'm going to spell it because, of course, I make life difficult in the area of names. DIANNFLOYD, B as in boy, OEHM.com. And you can just reach out to me if you're interested in me being working with you in speaking engagements or anything. I have a publicist. I'm so excited now.
Yay!
He's amazing. Mickey Milkinson. And you can reach him too, and you can find that information on my website. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you so much, Diane. Great having you back, as I mentioned, and I look forward to chatting with you and catching up.
Okay, great. Take care.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. I just want to mention a couple of books that were sent to me that I've had an opportunity to dive into. These are both people we interviewed on the show. So this is Dr. Joseph Maroon. His book is Square One, A Simple Guide to a Balanced Life. And he is the team neurologist for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we interviewed him on Loving Longevity. And then this one is by Charles J. Reed, CPA. It's the payroll book. So if you own a business, you need this. So we interviewed him on Entrepreneur and so much more. Okay, if you'd like to be a guest on this or any of our other shows, please go over to our website, which is usaglobaltv.com. Book your session. We have a special show coming up on Sunday, and I know that Lynda and Diane will both be there. That is, let me look for my graphic, the reunion show, and it is 6 hours of live streaming on Sunday. What will I be doing on Sunday? Now you know. 6 hours of live streaming. Everyone gets 15 minutes to promote their work, and it's going to be a blast. So please do join us wherever you watch our shows. That's where you can find us. And also, as I mentioned before, we are now on 3 radio channels. So I like to listen in on My Tuner Radio, My Tuner, TUNER radio.com. Okay, we're going to sign off for right now. Our next show is coming up. It's the Film and Music Show. And my co-host is international award-winning singer, songwriter, producer, and artist, Madeline Chan. And our guest is joining us, I believe, from Hong Kong, and her name is Winky. And I'm looking forward to meeting her. So stay tuned for that. Bye, everyone. Thank you.